boys and girls! So I decided for my first video, I'm going to do something simple like a flamingo. And I'm going to try and make it fun and easy so it's a success for our first one. Okay, so I got my pencil. I painted with painter's tape to keep my watercolor paper down. I do plan on watercoloring over the flamingo. But you certainly do not have to. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to lightly draw my flamingo with pencil first. In case I make a mistake, I can easily erase. And then as I'm happy with my design, I'm going to go in and darken my marks. I want to include my little eyeball. Okay. And then we don't want to forget our awesome long flamingo legs, of course. We'll definitely have our flamingo bending his legs here, because why not? Okay, nothing is perfect, guys, so you gotta just drop perfection. Here we go. Now I'm gonna go over my flamingo with a Sharpie. If mom and dad allow you, you can use one also. Okay, now, since I outlined my flamingo in Sharpie, I'm going to go in and erase my pencil marks before I start to watercolor. Just like I make you guys do in the art classroom. Okay, so now that I've erased the pencil marks, I'm going to go ahead and brush those off before painting. Okay, now I'm ready to paint. So I'm not going to worry about staying in the lines. I'm going to kind of have fun with this one. So I can maybe sprinkle some salt on top for some texture, or perhaps I'll spray some water to get some, nice smooth watercolor marks. It all kind of depends on what you guys want. But before I do start, I think I am going to use a white crayon and do some white crayon resist fun marks before I start to paint. Okay, now I'm going to dive right in. I I've already got my paint brush ready to go. I've got my watercolor set laid out. And now I'm just going to go ahead and have some fun. I'm going to dive in. Remember what I told you to mix your colors so they're very bright, very rich and bright. You see how beautiful and blue that is? And with the painter tape border, you don't have to worry about painting right on your paper. You can paint right on the tape. And if you don't have some, then just try your best to stay on the paper. No big deal. You know what I am noticing though is the white crayon isn't showing up very well. I wonder why. Okay, so I'm almost done with the feet. Now I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I am sticking with a big brush to do tiny areas. If we were in our classroom, I would make you use a smaller brush. But since we're at home, you can only just use the materials you've got, and that's okay. Okay, so I got my background done. Now I'm going to go in. Maybe I'm gonna use a slightly smaller brush just because I have one. If you don't, it's totally fine. But I'm gonna go in and paint my flamingo pink. And mix to get a nice bright pink. And if you don't have pink in your watercolor set, red and white mixed together make pink. Okay, what color should I do my beak? I know in real life they're pink and black. Well, some of them are. I'm going to go for yellow because in the art world we don't have to stick by the rules. And I'm going to paint my legs yellow too because why not? Okay, my flamingo is done. Now what I'm going to do is go in. I'm going to spray with some water to make sure everything's a little bit wet so I can apply some salt to get some nice textured designs. I only want to apply my salt on the blue background, so I'm just going to spray the water where it's blue. And now I've got my salt. Remember, if you remember from art class, you only need a tiny little pinch. There we go. And now you just leave the salt. Don't mess with it. If you mess with it, it won't do its job. And you just leave it alone until it's completely dry. And then you can brush the salt off and you'll have these really pretty white dots. Okay, so now I am going to pause the video until the paint dries. Okay, so I feel like it's dry enough. It's not totally dry, but I'm going to push back my materials so I can very carefully pull up the blue painter's tape to see that nice crisp border. And you don't just have to use painter's tape. If you have another kind of tape, any kind, you can use that. Just don't push it down as hard, because the beauty of painter's tape is it pulls up very easily. But I'm sure Mom and Dad might have some other kinds of tape that you can use just as well. Alright? Woohoo! There's our flamingo! Okay, boys and girls, I really wish that I could look in the camera and smile at you. So I think with my next video, I'm going to do it on my easel so I could look at you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope if you made a flamingo that you're really happy with it. And I'm super proud of you for trying. Alright, boys and girls, till our next video.